Uh, Welcome everyone. Doing a new video. It's by the same guy who did the Wonder Woman flop. He thought it was gonna flop because he felt like they were making fun of Trump, and because he's a right-wing repube. They all are. And he picks this movie, and let me guess why he picked it. He picked it because most right-wing repubes use this video as the Bible, which, you know, I gotta tell you, this was my favorite movie of all time back in 1999, 2000, when I first watched it. I think I watched it around, I think I watched it around 1999, 2000, and it, you know, as a kid, it blew my mind, you know, because they said a lot of things in there that was against a lot of things that we as Americans stand for, which I think is odd because these repubes, they take it and they think it's about them, but it's not. Matter of fact, it's not even about me. As you know, in the main character of the movie, he uses consumerism as a way to manipulate people, and he uses consumerism, not being a man, stuff like that. He uses this to manipulate people. Now, I guess I'm giving it away, but if you haven't watched the movie yet, you should go watch it. It's a really great movie. It has a lot of philosophy in it, a lot of nihilism. So it's an amazing movie. Just go watch it. We're going to see the Drinker Recommends, and we're going to see what he thinks of it.
Not the car you drive, not the contents of your wallet. You're not your fucking khakis. You were the all-singing, all-dancing crap at the world.
Oh, come on, as if I wasn't gonna recommend this one. Put simply, Fight Club is one of the defining movies of the late 1990s. A film that perfectly captured the angst, frustration and resentment of an entire generation of young men.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah, the 90s was, I grew up as a, I don't want to, talk about my age, but yeah, I would say that when I watched it in 99, 2000, it was an amazing movie, and I'm glad I watched it at that time. It's still number 2, one of my favorite number 2 movies.
Raised on divorce and disappointment, cast adrift at the tail end of a pretty mediocre decade, and enslaved to a world of soulless corporations and shallow consumerism. Oh yeah, and it's also a tight, smart, intense and darkly funny psychological thriller, starring 2 actors at the peak of their careers. So for that reason, I'm about to break the first rule of Fight Club and talk the shit out of it. It's time for another Drinker Recommends. The movie begins with a flash forward to the climax of the story, where the protagonist is being held at gunpoint by an unseen man named Tyler Durden. We never get his name in the actual movie, but for the sake of convenience, let's just call him Jack.
In the book, I read the book too. I was a big fan of this movie and the book. I don't remember if Jack was his name in the book. I can't remember, but yeah, Jack is kind of a play on words. In the book and in the movie, he sees these pamphlets that say, I am Jack's liver, I am Jack's anger, I am Jack's sensibility, whatever, and that's where we get it from, so we nicknamed the narrator Jack.
Jack explains that the high-rise office buildings around them have all been rigged with demolition charges that are due to go off in a matter of seconds. Well, that's not very good. But what the fuck is this all about? What's the purpose of this attack? Who is Tyler Durden, and why did he take Jack hostage? And how does a woman named Marla Singer fit into it? Well, let's find out, shall we? Flashback a few months, and Jack's an insurance specialist for a car manufacturer. Which one, you might ask?
A major one.
He's wealthy and successful, but bored and unsatisfied by his shallow, materialistic existence.
Shit. I wish I had that. I wish I had those problems right now. I really do. I really wish I had those problems.
This lack of purpose and fulfillment results in chronic insomnia, and a desperate visit to his doctor eventually leads him to a support group for cancer survivors. Clearly he doesn't belong here, but he finds a kind of weird emotional release that allows him to sleep soundly for the first time in years. Before he knows it, he's a regular at all kinds of support groups, faking his way in so he can leech off people's misery and make himself feel better. What a guy. This is all great until a woman named Marla Singer starts showing up. Straight away, Jack realizes that she's a misery tourist like himself, and that realization bursts his bubble, causing his insomnia to return. That's when he happens to cross paths with a mysterious salesman named Tyler Durden. Tyler is everything that Jack isn't. He's laid back, charismatic, good looking and confident, and he's able to instantly cut through the bullshit of everyday life. When Jack returns home to find his apartment destroyed by a gas explosion, he remembers Tyler's number and reluctantly meets up with him for a few beers. That's when something weird happens. Tyler suddenly asks Jack to hit him, leading to a clumsy brawl in the parking lot outside. But instead of driving them apart, the confrontation actually solidifies their friendship, leading Jack to conclude that
we should do this again sometime.
Pretty soon he's...
Okay, I don't know if he goes into it. This is my first time watching him do this. It's been 3 minutes. And he's almost... But I just want to say for the record that Tyler is like the Uber man. He uses a lot of philosophy, a lot of Taoism, and a lot of Buddhism and nihilism, and materialistic things. These Eastern philosophies, they always talk about how you shouldn't, try to be so materialistic. And I think that's one of the things that the movie tries to teach, or at least that's what Tyler teaches, but he has ulterior motives. We'll see what he has in mind.
Moved into Tyler's dilapidated house, and the two of them are having regular fistfights in parking lots and back alleys. It's not long before other like-minded men get drawn to their violent contests, and before they know it, they've formed their own underground fight club, where men from all walks of life find release from the pressures and frustrations of the modern world with a bit of good old-fashioned fisticuffs. I
don't see any Latinos. Look at the waiter. Look, he's coming. Hold on, let's play him.
Time passes, Jack finds himself...
So this guy, he's a waiter, and obviously he's a fight club member. We're not supposed to talk about it. Where the Latinos at? I think they never said the location of the movie. The location in the movie, in the book, I think it's supposed to be Delaware. I think that's where it's supposed to be. And I guess they don't have any Latinos in Delaware. I don't know where it's shot, like filming location. I don't know where it's shot. It's probably shot in LA. And again, they don't have any Latinos. But whatever, that waiter would have been a Latino.
Self-identifying more and more with Tyler's simple, brutal worldview. He quits his job after extorting his boss for money in one of the most ballsy plays I've ever seen. And rejects the corporate world he used to be part of, giving himself up to the emotional and physical highs.
Hey man, if you want to give up your corporate job, give it to me. I would love a corporate job right about now. It'd be way better than what I'm doing right now, begging on YouTube for money. Matter of fact, hey, don't forget to give me some money. Look down in the description. Pay me.
He's a fight club. It's become like a drug for him, and like any good addict, all he really cares about is his next hit. But things take a darker turn when Tyler hooks up with Marla, driving a wedge between the two friends. Even worse, he begins to transform Fight Club from a simple pastime into an organised terrorist network called Project Mayhem, with Tyler firmly at the top.
Oh wow, domestic terrorism? Cult? But I thought you weren't supposed to desire such acts. Seems like Tyler used stuff that makes sense, desireless, anti-consumerism, peace, all this philosophy. Looks like he's used it to manipulate people into doing what he wants. Interesting. Kind of reminds me of somebody, right? Doesn't it remind you of someone? Let's pause for a minute.
It starts out with minor acts of vandalism, but soon escalates into major attacks, blackmail and intimidation as the group's power and influence grows. Matters come to a head when one of the group gets shot and killed, and Jack realizes
His name was Robert Paulson.
that Project Mayhem needs to be stopped. The problem is that the network has now grown beyond his control, and no matter how hard he tries, Tyler always seems to be one step ahead of him. How exactly does he manage this? Well...
Should we skip? I think we should skip. Hey, if you haven't seen the movie, please stop what you're doing. Go see it. It's an awesome, awesome movie. Do not. I'm gonna push the button. You better go watch it. Alright, 3, 2, 1.
Because we're the same person.
Oh, exactly.
That's right.
What I really love about this revelation are the hints subtly woven throughout the narrative in a way that's possible to gloss over if
You know, when I first watched this movie, I had no idea the twist. You know, in the late 90s, everybody was doing a twist, but it really caught me off guard. I had no idea that Jack was talking to himself the whole time and using a persona to manipulate people for him to start a terrorist organization / cult.
you don't know what's coming, but also make complete sense on repeated viewings. In fact, it actually puts a fascinating new spin on certain conversations once you understand the full context behind them.
Except for their humping, Tyler and Marla were never in the same room.
Oh, let's back
My
up.
parents
Before
pulled
I
this
back up.
exact...
Okay, let's back up because I want to talk about this because I like this. I've always liked this part. Hold on.
Once you understand the full context behind
Okay. Oh, man, I'm not good at.
conversations, once you understand the full context behind
Okay, what's he doing right there? Okay, so basically in the movie he's putting this chemical on his hand, and the reaction happened because Tyler kissed his hand and put that lye. I don't know what it was, but it's a chemical that burns his hand. And he's trying to teach him that one day you're going to die. Until he knows that, he's useless. But what Tyler's trying to do right here, he's trying to mimic the Buddhist. I don't know if it's the Buddhist philosophy, but a lot of people think that if you can accept pain, I think that's a Buddhist principle. I'm not sure. I'm not really into Buddhism, but I believe they believe in accepting the pain or whatever and using it and knowing that you're going to die, that you're not going to live forever, that you are one day, you're not indestructible, you're not a superhero, you're not Superman, that you're going to die one day. You know, this is a great way to like annihilate the ego, but it's also another great way to like break down somebody and use them for your own accord.
them.
Except for their humping, Tyler and Marla were never in the same room. My parents pulled this exact same act for years. He's not here.
What?
Yeah, not that we don't love your little visit.
Tyler's not here. Tyler went away. Tyler's gone. I love that. I love that line. Because if you think about it, she thinks that he's Tyler and Jack. They're rolling to one. She had no idea that he was Jack because she thought he was Tyler. Am I giving it away too much? You should have went to go watch the damn movie. I told you to. You didn't listen. You know what? Just give me money. Just go down in the honor description. Go down to the description and give me some money. All right? Give it.
You are such a nutcase. I can't even begin to keep up.
My dad never went to college, so it's real important that I go.
Oh man, me too, dude. Me too. My dad, when growing up, he always said, you know, go to college, go to college, go to college. I went to college, and I graduated.
That sounds familiar.
Jesus Christ, I really miss films like this. Anyway, the action culminates right where it began, at the top of a high-rise with a ticking bomb and Tyler holding Jack at gunpoint. Except, well, he isn't. And once Jack realizes this, once he comes to terms with who and what he's created, he's finally able to destroy it. just in time to watch Tyler's plan come to fruition.
You met me at a very strange time in my life.
What was Tyler's plan? He wanted to blow up these credit cards, because if you blow up the buildings, you could turn everyone's debt into zero. I don't think you could do that now. Everything's on the internet, so if you bomb everything, it's still saved to the internet. And even if that was possible, if you could really do that, I mean, people are just going to get themselves back into debt. There's no saving people, because people like spending money. You know, that's the American dream. You know, it's, and I'm not even going to say that's a right wing or left wing. That's an American left and right. Everyone likes to have stuff. Everybody has an iPhone. Everyone likes to just consume. Everyone likes to be consumers. Everyone likes women. That's another thing that they talked about in this movie, about not having a woman to feel be complete. And why does the right wing people do this? I have no idea. I mean, there's a lot of, if you really think about it, it's a lot of social ideas. You know, it's a lot of liberal. Wait, I take that back. Liberals are not socialists, okay? But there are social ideals, like not living in a capitalist world. And that's what Tyler was trying to teach them. And he was teaching them to start a terrorist group and a cult. So this guy was using religious doctrine and philosophy doctrine and all this stuff to manipulate people who were, I wouldn't say dumb, but people who were could be easily manipulated, because they were depressed and they were sad. They were sad for a lot of things. Like Bob, I don't know if you know who Bob was. He was the guy with the bitch tits, the fat guy. He got cancer. He got what testicular cancer. That's right. And then he grew bitch tits, and his family wouldn't talk to him because he abused steroids. It's a really sad life, and there are people out there who live like that. So he was looking for a family, a purpose. I mean, I can't imagine going through that life where even your own kids don't want to talk to you. Anyways, this movie's really good. I think the Drinker Dude is doing a fabulous job talking about the movie. I know he has right-wing ideals, but he has good taste in movies. I have to admit, he does have good taste in movies. And this is one of the good ones. This is number 2. My number 1 is Blade Runner, if you didn't watch the other video. But this one right here, this is a really good movie.
Fight Club wasn't a big success at theatres when it released 20 years ago. It was too dark, too confusing.
Shit, has it been 20 years? Oh man, how old am I? Not telling. How old do I look?
Too subversive for mainstream audiences, but it grew in popularity over the years on home video, ironically becoming a kind of underground cult phenomenon, just like its namesake. And for good reason. It's quite simply a brilliant film. On the one hand, it's a smart, twisted psychological thriller with black comedy elements that manages to present its story in a witty, subversive style and pull the rug out from under you in a way that feels satisfying and earned. I love the subtle details they worked into the production, like how Jack and Tyler's appearance gradually changes over the course of the movie. Ed Norton went on a crash diet to become increasingly emaciated, while Brad Pitt trained and lifted weights every day. As a result...
that's what I gotta start doing. I gotta go start lifting weights, man. Tyler looked good in the homo. He looks very good, very masculine. Very masculine. These right-wing repeats always talk about being a uber man. There's nothing more uber than Tyler Durden.
Jack gets progressively weaker and more fucked up as he loses control of his own mind, while Tyler looks bigger and stronger as he slowly takes over. On that subject, Tyler Durden may be one of the most compelling and fascinating characters I've seen in years.
We used to talk about this in psychology class years ago. We talked about the id and the ego. I believe I don't know which one he is. I think he's the id, not the ego. I think the narrator's the ego. Who cares? But Tyler he's one of the most incredible characters. Who knew Brad Pitt was such a phenomenal actor?
A smart, capable, highly motivated man that rejects the fakery of modern society, who can easily sway others to his cause, and who absolutely doesn't give a shit what people think of him. As he himself admits, he's free in every way that Jack isn't. He represents what every button-down office worker toiling away in some soulless cubicle wishes he could be.
You know, it's funny. When I was a kid, I wanted to be just like Tyler. Now I want to be just like Jack. I want to have a 9 to 5, go be in a corporate office, just clock in and clock out, and get a nice little paycheck and just chill. Maybe get on the internet, talk mess to some repeats. Awesome. But more and more, I think I've become. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
What's interesting though is that Tyler does have a kind of loose moral code that he adheres to. He'll happily destroy property and intimidate others to achieve his aims, but he won't harm innocent people if he can avoid it. There's even a suggestion that he might...
If he could avoid it? No. No, he can hurt people. No, innocent people. I don't know. I guess we can get into a debate. I mean, who was in there? His own cult members. I guess he doesn't think of them as innocent because he manipulates them to his bidding, kind of like the devil. So like, okay, what about Marla? All right, never mind. Okay, all right. I think you got this one. You brought up a good point. Maybe he won't hurt innocent. I don't know. It doesn't really show innocent people that he doesn't. I don't know. Who's an innocent person in Fight Club? I don't know.
Ultimately have good intentions behind his destructive acts. Like when he threatens a convenience store employee into improving his life.
If you're not on your way to becoming a veterinarian in 6 weeks, you will be dead.
I mean, that's great and all that, but I wouldn't necessarily say that was a nice thing to do. Definitely not. Very undude of him. Very not Taoist. But I get your point. You bring up a valid point. I think he might be innocent. I don't know. Whatever. Didn't treat him very well. Made him think that he was going to die in the back of an alley.
Tomorrow will be the most beautiful day of Brandon Castle's life.
Okay, yeah.
His breakfast will taste better than any meal you and I ever tasted.
Or make sure to evacuate the buildings that they plan to destroy to avoid civilian casualties. That being said, the humour in this film is as black as they come, like Jack and Tyler rendering human fat to make high quality soap to sell to rich clients. Or a woman with terminal cancer who just wants to get laid and uses the support group to proposition anyone willing to sleep with her. Or pissing into the...
What was her name? Oh man, I forgot her name. I used to like her though. I mean, like, she was at the end. It's sad. She was a good. I don't know. Yeah, I want to remember who she was, but I can't. But I remember the character. Really sad.
The soup served in expensive restaurants, or sneaking a flash frame from a porn movie into a kids movie just for shits and giggles. It's a great combination of juvenile anarchy and dark comedy that makes for a compelling watch, because you never quite know what the movie's going to throw at you next. But the real reason Fight Club made such an impact is because it dared to make some pretty astute observations about modern culture, and particularly men's place in it. The characters in this movie are basically what happens when Generation X has to grow up and venture out into the real world. A world of bland offices, pointless meetings, generic apartments, and...
I guess you're right. I guess you call Jack and Tyler Gen X. I guess I'm a millennial.
and unfulfilling lives where men are conditioned to be sensitive, docile and compliant. This was also the first generation to grow up with divorce and single parents as the norm. As Tyler himself remarks,
Okay.
Generation of men raised by women.
the result of all this is a kind of lost generation of bored, confused, emasculated corporate drones with no real drive or purpose. So instead, they obsess over trivial workplace presentations or which bland IKEA cushions would go with their bland IKEA curtains. Whereas previous generations had fought wars or reached for the stars, this one was cast adrift in an ocean of corporate mediocrity.
Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes. Working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need.
Tyler. That's such a socialist thing to say, bro. That's some left-wing propaganda right there that you spitting, son. Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree that, totally agree with what you were just saying right now. Sorry, Tyler got me, he manipulated me. He makes so much sense.
Fight Club.
Oh, now I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, those Gen X people, they just sound whiny. They need to grow up. You know, raise your kids. You know, raise these millennial kids. You know, so these Gen X people, they raise the millennial kids, and now everyone thinks the millennials and the Generation Zs are all messed up. Well, whose fault was it? All right, or the Zs, the millennials, the Xers. Who's before the Xers? Silent generation? Should we blame them?
Posits the idea that maybe aggression, competition, and the rush of physical danger are fundamental parts of the male psyche, and if you remove them...
Yeah. No, I mean, no, well, I don't know. Look, you bring up some good arguments. I will say that you bring up some very good... Well, you're using Fight Club. You're using my favorite movie, and I've been discussing this all day. Yeah, I do agree that is what Fight Club is, basically the male bravado of all that. But you have to remember that Tyler's using all this to manipulate you into being a space monkey. I mean, isn't that what they say in the movie? Space monkey? You're turning into a space monkey. So you shouldn't be doing Fight Club. Fight Club is a cult. It's a domestic terrorist group. Do you really want to be a part of that? I would say no.
Then all you end up with is a bunch of weak, useless, effeminate pussies sitting around crying about how hard their lives are.
Yeah, but I've already explained to you what happens when you become the uber macho space monkey. You become a domestic terrorist. That's what you become. You're part of a cult, and you don't even realize it. These guys, at the end of the movie, they just follow whatever Tyler tells them to follow. His name was Robert Paulson.
It's no coincidence that Jack finds solace in a testicular cancer survivors group. He's literally surrounded by emasculated men.
Hey, just keep in mind, these are Generation Xers. Alright, he's an Xer, not a millennial. Alright? If he has a kid, he'll be a millennial, but yeah.
Lamenting the loss of their identity. It also explains why Fight Club quickly attracts legions of lost, disenfranchised young men desperately looking for...
Young white men. Maybe, a couple of black people. I didn't see any Latinos. Angel Face. No, that's not. This is a white guy. It's the bad Joker. Those people who didn't watch the movie, Angel Face was played by that dude who was a terrible Joker in that movie that nobody watched. What was it called? The one Margot Robbie made Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn famous. What? Suicide Squad. There you go, Suicide Squad. Yeah. No, that movie sucked. Dawn sucked. Margot was hot, but it was her and a whole lot of other people. You know what? Let me get back to Fight Club.
For meaning and purpose. But the movie also makes some pretty telling observations about how easily those people can be manipulated by strong, charismatic leaders, as Tyler gradually transforms Fight Club into Project Mayhem, channeling his followers' anger and aggression behind a singular objective. The way they shave their heads, change into standard clothes, and obey orders without hesitation.
Kind of like skinheads, huh? I mean, both of these dudes are white. I mean, you got a couple of black people, but no Latinos. Where's the Latino? There's never any Latinos in Hollywood, man. Never mind. Anyway, yeah, a bunch of skinheads. It's cult. Wait, can I say skinheads? Is that racist for me to say skinheads? I'm sorry. My bad. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. I don't know if that's racial. Is that offensive? If it is, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to look it up. Remind me to come back to this and edit out if saying skinhead is a racial term for white people. I love white people. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that to y'all. It just, it's fun. It's just that. Never mind. I'm done. I'm done talking.
Willingly surrendering their individuality for the cause. It's a cult, basically. Pay particular attention to the scene where Bob gets killed during a mission and Tyler's followers quickly adapt their beliefs to keep them consistent.
In death, a member of Project Mayhem has a name.
Just like how cult members will go through the most insane mental gymnastics to rationalize all the contradictory bullshit they get fed.
And what does that remind you of, bro? I mean, that reminds you of some right-wing bullshit. And yes, left-wing bullshit. Both wing bullshit, okay? Think for yourselves, alright? Think for yourselves. Stop falling in love with charismatic people who promise you a great life and it never comes. Am I talking shit about Trump again? I'm sorry.
The funny thing about Fight Club is that people see it as an anti-capitalist movie, which I guess fits into the 2020 narrative, but the truth is that it's much more fundamental than that.
No shit. It's more fundamental than that. Tyler really uses anti-capitalist movie to manipulate, and you said it all, right? You said it all. But let me guess, you're gonna try to right-wing this. You're gonna right-wing my movie. And I'm going to let you do it because, I actually agree with pretty much everything you said in this video. So I'm going to let you have it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Do some right-wing bullshit.
Fight Club is about rebelling against the empty, meaningless nature of society in general. It's a stinging rebuke against materialism, corporate culture.
Hold up. Materialism, corporate culture. That sounds like some socialist ideals there, guy. You sound like a damn libtard. That's what you are. You're becoming a libtard. You don't even know it.
And the pursuit of shallow, fleeting enjoyment, rather than taking the harder, more painful path to deeper meaning and fulfillment. In short...
It sounds like Buddhist talk. No, I'm guessing it's Buddhist. I have to look it up. I'm too lazy to look it up right now. But no, you don't have to go through pain. That's just... I don't agree with that. I never have. Never will. You don't have to go through pain to better understand your life. Just... I don't know, man. Look, I think we all been through some pain. Okay, I'm not gonna say here. I'm not gonna sit and say I've been through pain. We all been through pain, and trust me, I didn't need to go through it to be a better person. Not me. Maybe you. I don't know. I guess I'm talking for myself. Maybe other people need to feel pain in order to feel better about their lives, but I sure don't.
It's a warning against denying human nature, and with Jack's final acceptance and defeat of Tyler, the film may be suggesting that the way forward is to strike a kind of balance between these two extremes. The problem with films that so perfectly capture the mood and culture of their time is that they obviously tend to come across as dated and quaint when you rewatch them years later. But the scary thing is that the message and warnings of Fight Club are even more relevant now than they were 20 years ago. You only...
Okay, yeah. No. Yeah, okay. I kind of see that. I mean, I'm not there. That's not my life anymore. I don't think that way. When I was younger, I thought that way. But I realize now that, things would be a lot better if I had money in my pockets. Just saying. But, and I would love to be a corporate Joan. I would love to work a 9 to 5 right now. I really do. But anyways, but again, I'm talking about myself. You bring up valid. You bring up a good point. You're right on this part. You're pretty much right. You're like 90% right in this whole video, except for the time when you went right wing. That's 10%. But you're doing a good job. Keep going.
I have to take a casual look at random social media threads or the bland, sanitized garbage that passes for modern entertainment to see exactly what I'm talking about. And you can't help but wonder, what if Tyler was right after all? Now this is where I'd normally tell...
Tyler was not right. I'm gonna disagree with you on this one. He wasn't right. Okay, he was right about some things, but not. He was manipulating you, bro. Okay, he was manipulating you. Yes, you shouldn't base your life on materialistic things, but you shouldn't be following a guy manipulating you into a cult either. There's a balance. Like it's like the Taoist said, there's got to be a balance to life. I don't know.
Tell you to go away. But just before I sign off, I wanted to do my own...
Okay, goodbye. Goodbye. I don't want... Good. Alright, well that's it. I'm gonna end it right here because I talk too much. Alright, you know what to do, okay? First of all, any money. Give me money, please. I need money. If you want me to keep doing this, you gotta give me money. Otherwise, I gotta go find a job. I'm still gonna do this, but I need money. I need it. You know? I don't agree with Tyler. I think some materialistic things is good. Like bills, rent, food. I think those things are they're materialistic things, but I need you to I need those things. Yeah. I need you to help me get more stuff. Like, you know, you see all this flickering? Yeah. That's because I need a green screen. I can't afford one. So I need you to go down there, give me some money. If you can't do that, like and subscribe. If you can't do that, just go to my Twitter and my blog and just do whatever you want to do.